Next one up, I'm gonna adjust the camera real quick, make sure you guys can see everything I'm doing. So this goes along with the stuff that I went over in the video yesterday with the 1.5s, but what I want to show you is like a basic shape work that's very easy to do, and I kind of showed a lot to people if they're kind of starting off spinning things, but it's working with the concept of W. So in all the shapes that we have, you know, we have O, we have X, we have C, and all these different variations of S and then I, those are all different shapes. But a good beginner shape move to start teaching yourself how to move 360, i.e. being able to walk around and move around inside patterns, is this drill. And the main drill I want to get to is showing you guys a couple things. So I want to show you essentially how to do this guy, which is like considered a figure 8, or it's considered like a choo-choo. It's one of my favorite moves, and I have a ton of variations from it, and it feels super nice. So the main thing to start with is palms down, works okay, but like this is fine first. So you know what I mean? Like knuckles forward, my palms are towards myself. And the point is to turn the arms and put them in the wall plane, so I'm flipping up from side to side. And at either side, when it's up, if you take your arms over in a circular fashion, then it stops here. You can't go any further down, right? So you have to flip down. So that's the first exercise, is to play with going from left to right and flipping down and up just to get your hands used to it. Play the same way with your hands being reverse, like palms back and flipping down. And then the point of turning, this is the next part that's important because you can't go any further down. Once you're over here, right, you have to do something like a 1.5, which is what I'm going to get into. This is what I want to show at the very end too. But you can learn to turn 360. So if you just follow the hands, they're both up, and just walk with them as you turn in a circle, it'll turn all the way around. And the same thing as if you zip it down to the side and follow it around, you can turn at every point. So work it from left, right, top, bottom. So the next thing is the kind of the beginning to get into choo-choo and get into these kind of like side reel kind of weavy things that are kind of pretty, and you can turn them into like, you know, all kinds of fun stuff long term. But what you have to do is play with the idea of I don't know what these are called. To me, it's like a gear move, you know what I mean? It's like gears like interlacing and going up and down. But it's kind of a sliding motion, but all I'm doing is taking it from here, palms are towards me, and I'm just rotating my hands up until they're at that point, right? Plain and simple, nothing too crazy. Same thing to my left side, and back down, to my right side, and back down. So, you know, now you have top to bottom, left, down, right, down. They do kind of go through the middle, but you have to do just a full across, you know what I mean? So you have across the side as well. And these all fit the same way. So you can take that beginning move I'm showing you, that is, you know, putting them at different points and following the circles, and then moving them across, moving them back, folding them down, folding again. And so you can learn to turn 360 to 2. Because if you just take like the 1.5 concept, same thing, both palms are out, right? And all I'm doing is just rotating them through that gear together, and then they stop, and then I rotate them through forward. So I can do it on my left side, and then back to my right side. And so you can see it from this side, like that, and like that, right? And so what that does is that allows you that if you're moving through this whole big circle thing, at any point you get locked up, you can do this whole rotation over and change different ways. My favorite way of doing this is literally using it to turn and hit, come back in a full extension, turn, and then full extension, do that little gear thing, full extension. And so what that teaches you, if you learn how to do those, is a lot of different variations of like how to move and slide those fans like that. So the choo-choo thing that I'm showing you is you start both palms in at the bottom. I'm holding it in grip like this, but Doodles is going to be, you know, the fingery thing. But if you start by just rotating to your right side, once you're there, you're going to take them and just extend them to the top, to the other side. And then once you hit your right side, you'll do that same rotating gear pattern back down to the bottom. So it'll be up, over, down to the bottom. Same thing the other way. You just go right hand, stays on the bottom, boom, 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 right? And then when you put it all together in a nice move, you end up with this idea, right? Pretty simple. The next thing, the last thing I'd like to show you, which this is something I'm kind of fucking with right now, getting around the head, trying not to make this like 20 minutes long. but you can do the same thing from palm here to your side, almost like a waist wrap almost. And you do the same gear thing and it goes just behind you and then comes across, extend, and then does the same thing that side and extends across the bottom. So to show you that from the side, it starts here, and all I'm doing is this same movement, that we just talked about. I'm just doing it here and pushing it behind me, coming over, extending across the top, coming down and doing it on the other side. So from behind, looks like that, over the top, bam. And so it ends up being like a nice way to kind of like hit this like reel pattern without really having to tuck and do a lot of like finger switches or gripping switches. And it works really nice from both directions, both ways. It's a really bass pattern. It feels really nice. And it's got a lot of possibilities. Like you can turn 360 in it. So if I remember how to do that right, pretty much when you go all the way up to here or any spot. So let's say we go across the bottom. As soon as you go to turn and go across the top, you can literally just kick around and come back and just rotate back through it, right? And I know I did that kind of fast, but all I did was just, I came to here and I just turned quickly all the way around. And once I hit there, I just pulled it back down. Make sense? It's the same way the other way. It's like as soon as I'm doing like this to this side, going over to this side, I hit. And as soon as I hit that bottom extension, all I'm doing is following it around, boom, and then hitting that pattern. And as soon as you hit that pattern, you can switch through all those things that we talked about before. Yes, that'll be all.